Good everyone. I hope you guys have an amazing day. So yesterday, if you remember, I demonstrated how to create a um, invocable Apex class which accepts flow API name and the parent, which is the Apex defined, so that you can use that in your invocable Apex to invoke a flow. But there is a mistake I've done in my previous episode. That is, although I defined account defined class, which is supposed to serve as an Apex define, but I define it as an invocable variable instead of or enabled. So when you do that, you cannot use this class as an Apex define. So it changes to or enabled. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to create a flow, and so let me. So if you remember, I've created this object, right? Account logger. So the whole purpose of this is whenever an account get inserted, if the status is on hold, it will insert the record to this specific object. So for that, I need to create a flow, and then I hook up the flow to the platform event. Okay, so that's pretty much what I'm going to do today. So what I'll do, I'll go to setup, and I'll go to type flow here, type flows, yeah, and so I'm going to do, when you write a flow, right, just keep into consideration that write a flow in such a way that you can reuse the flow, right? There's a principle called Solar principle. It's very popular in the programming language. If you're an Apex developer, you should know. It's like they have open close principle, single responsibility principle, exhaust for principle. There are so just go through it, right? Single responsibility principle is the most commonly used in flows. That means your flow should be responsible for just one type of stuff, right? If it's doing, say for instance, updating a case, it should only do things with the case. It should not do anything to do with accounts or for other stuff, right? So that you can reuse it in other places as a subflows. Okay, or you can build an interface which you can reuse it like a generic interface. You can do a lot of things. So I'm not going to cover the design pattern here, but so the flow I'm going to do, I will make it as a flow to update um, uh, the logger, create a logger object data. So yeah, let's see here, resource. So what I'm going to do the variable. Okay, so I need an input variable, right? This flow should accept the input variable. So if you remember that I mentioned about this parent value, that is, when you're invoking a flow, right? We expect this as the name of the variable. So that's exactly what I do. Yeah. Okay. If you're hearing some kind of noise, I think my neighbor is running the vacuum cleaner at this hour. It's almost 6 p.m. evening, but I can't tell him, hey, you can't run it because it's it's not. I mean, if it's too noisy after 10, you can go and tell, right? But it's not 10 o'clock, right? Just can't be an arse neighbor or you can say a grumpy neighbor to cause of trouble. I just don't want to be that kind of neighbor. But I'm just saying, if you're hearing the noise, that's where the noise is coming from. Okay, so sorry, I digress. So Apex class, this is the class of build, right? If you remember, this is the account defined class, right? So I've used that class here and available to see outside the flow. Obviously, I want this as an input, yeah, and I'm done. Okay, so what I'll do, I will create a record. So logger record. Okay, so this is a record, right? And I will say logger. Okay, and I'm not interested to input or any stuff, so I'm just going to do assignment. Assign logger variable. Okay, and just make sure that you have um, the name, the description in place. I mean, I do understand that sometimes people assume if you don't need it. Well, I think you do need it because if someone else looking at the code, right, you just want to make sure that they understand what you're trying to do. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm actually assigning the count. So this parent value ID will contain an account ID, right? So and then I think the status maybe. Okay, and we're just gonna go the status from here. Okay, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a record. Okay, so we're just gonna do create logger record. Which is basically an account logger. Okay, and um, no. Okay, use a separate variable. No, object, not an object. Okay, the logger record. So I'm gonna use this logger record. So this is exactly what we're gonna do, right? Okay. So I mean, in a real life scenario, right? I mean, I don't have an uh, error logger information. Okay, you know what? While we here, okay, that's fine. I'll save it, and I will say update logger, account logger. Uh, that noise is annoying of the vacuum. Uh, is it vacuum or I think is it doing a lawn mowing? I'm not sure or whatever it is. All right, so I activate it. So what I was trying to say, right? I mean, when you do any kind of so-called operation, right? Insert or you know um, retrieve or whatever. Just always try to add the fault line, something like this. Right now, I don't. You can obviously insert the fault information to something, right? But for now, I got none. So I don't have a error logger object. So I'll leave it as such for now. Okay, so I will do save as version now. Okay, and what I'll do, I will go here and I'll go to Object Manager. Let's quickly create a custom object called error logger, and so that we can log an error, right? I just called error logger. Right, obviously it's good practice to log somewhere. I mean, like I said yesterday, there are different kinds of loggers out there. You can use Nebula logger. I've used Nebula logger; it's pretty cool, right? Um, or if you have custom logging in place, that's great as well. Some companies use custom logging. There's nothing wrong with that. It depends on what your company's after. So, and if you have existing process in place, obviously go with that. If you don't, then yeah, you can try to see get an open source, or you can build in house, right? Just give whatever name you want, and I'll just next say right. Okay, so that's done. Now what I'll do, I will do fields. So let's put a new field called description, and I obviously want it is a long area, right? So that's all I care. End of the day. Okay, error message, right? So if something goes wrong, I'll just say 6, right? Yeah. You can go to this logging and have a look. A logger object to see what's going on. Error logger. Just put visible. Okay, save. Right. Now what gonna do here, I'm just gonna do error logger, and I'll just refresh it a bit, and go here, and I'll do add a fault line, and what I'll do. Oh, come on. Just create a record. Okay. I was going to do the here. Okay. Sorry. Error handling. Okay. Error handling. Okay. Create a record from these values. I don't have a value. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Add logger. Okay. What I'll do, I'll set the value error message, also flow, and there's something called fault message, right? So obviously this field contains the error that you're gonna get, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And I'm gonna save it and save as, and activate. Okay. So what we've done, we created a flow, and this flow will pretty much update. Create a entry in a account logger object. Okay. Now let's go back to the uh, logger subscriber. Okay. Now, obviously, we need to hook this flow here, right? Now, you know that we can't use subflow, so we're gonna use action, right? And what's the name of the flow? I think run flow with param, maybe. This one. Let's see if I can find it. Oh yeah, fantastic. I'm just gonna do this. Do this. Hey, flow API name. Fantastic. Now, what we have to do? Just go to this flow, right? And just find your details and versions. Excuse me. Um, Update account logger. Okay, now I obviously need a param, right? So I will do done. Now it will not work. Okay, so I'll close this, and what I'll do, I'll do an Apex define variable called param val. Yeah, you can name whatever you want because it's no restriction here. But for consistency, I'll often prefer to keep the same name. Here, okay, and all right. Now I'll do assignment variable and assign values to param val. And what I'll do, param val and ID. This is an account ID, so record. Oh no. Dot account ID. Yeah. Uh, param. So status. I think record dot, because we're getting a value from the platform event, right? So I'll do this, and I'll do action and flow. Yeah, just copy this one. All right, should work. Hopefully. Right, so I just want to grab this value from here. All right. Okay, now parent define value. Hopefully it work. Okay, that should do the job. Now I do need to add the default fault. What if something fails, right? Then I'm gonna go here and create a error record. One. Okay. What I'll do, error logger. Now a message fault. Sorry, flow. Yeah. Save. Fantastic. Save as. New version. Activate. So yeah, that's pretty much I wanted to demonstrate today. I mean, in the next episode we're gonna do testing to see how it all ties up together, right? So we built a pretty interesting solution, right? The main intention for me to do this series to just to teach you guys how you can do event-driven using architecture. You can implement event-driven architecture using um, flows, right? If you have some scenario this way where someone else wants to subscribe to the event, then platform event or change their capture is the best way to go for. So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to cover. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. You guys have an amazing Thursday. Adios.